we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. I'm going to try and keep it as cheery as I can because it is the last post game of 2025. It is Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for joining us. Truly appreciate you doing so. Again, I host the Lakers Fast Break, the pop culture cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. On this week's episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos, available on YouTube if you're a member on Lakers Fast Break, or on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We talk about the Christmas Day box office weekend. We also talk about what's going on with the console sales and lack thereof, as reported on for the month of November. And also, we go ahead and cover the latest Marvel, Avengers, Doomsday trailers, and we talk about Josh Peterson's best and worst in pop culture for 2025. Mine is on the way, but I'm hoping to get TJ Johnson's in on the Friday show and then mine after that. So look forward to the best and worst of pop culture from all of us right there at the Pop Culture Cosmos. Indeed. Also, want to go ahead and make mention I have a great surprise that I got in the mail, and I don't know what it is. So, my man, Drip Show, at Drip Show Shop on Instagram and Twitter, when I talk about all the great things that he does and can do for you, Tough So on our chat just said himself he got in his work from Tough. He's from Trip Show at Trip Show Shop on Instagram and Twitter. So he is a happy customer, loves his gift. I want to see Tough. If you are in the chat already, please let everyone know what you got. Or if you want to send it in as far as the picture of it, LakersFastBreak at yahoo.com. Let me know. Would love to go ahead and show it off to show people what he can do. But you can see with the awesome pillow I've got of Kobe and Gigi right here. Absolutely, look at that quality. With the hats and t-shirts and posters Joe has, as far as they're concerned, and John has, that he's made over the course of his time as well. And you see by the canvas art as well of Luka and Kobe right there for you. And drum roll, please. And by the way, Tony, if you're still listening, I will mention to you what I got on Xbox here in a second. On the Xbox store, because some great last minute sales, guys. If you're looking for some great games, go to Steam, go to Epic, go to Xbox, go to PlayStation Store. There's still a ton of games on sale, and I'll tell you some of the games I got. So, all right, here goes. At Drip Show Shop on Instagram and Twitter. Here we go. Oh, it looks like it's upside down, so I'm going to have to pop it this way, guys. Let's see what we got from Man Drip Show. I did not know this was coming. He did tell me on Instagram something was coming my way, but he didn't tell me what. So, be that as it may, it looks like another great canvas art. I am going to be cutting it here. I know this is not great video on the intranet out there, but you know what? These unveilings are always fun to do. So, I'm going to go ahead and, can I get it out? Yes, I can. Oh, wow. Here we go. In honor of his 41st birthday. And boy, that'll be a touchy subject for today. It is a brand new canvas art of the GOAT himself. Well, John's GOAT. Right there for you, LeBron James. Absolutely. Look at that. Look at that quality. Look at that quality. Look at that. Look at that. You can have that too at Drip Show Shop on Instagram and Twitter. Go ahead, follow him there, hit him up on the DMs, tell him what you're looking for, whether it's pop culture or sports related. He can do that for you. Doesn't have to necessarily be Lakers, although that would be awesome if you could, but also as well pop culture related, video game related, Pokemon related, also as well, of course, sports related. Joe's gotten some Steelers stuff, Dodger stuff. Doesn't matter. Go ahead and get this kind of quality work for you today at Drip Show Shop on Instagram and Twitter. Drip. I cannot say enough, my friend. This is just truly, truly awesome indeed. Thank you so much. And got it right on his 41st birthday too, as well. I wanted to go ahead and make mention as well. John Costas, Lakers Corner. Hopefully, he will be able to stop by tonight. He said he's still feeling it under the weather, so he said he's a maybe for tonight. Probably more of a maybe than some of the Lakers that are still currently injured. But he said he would stop by today. But if you can, give him some love at Lakers Corner. And of course, Joe Sorrell, the Joe Sorrell Experiment legend. I got Next Sports Media, and of course, my friends at Lakerholics.com. Tony, there you go. I just don't like the. Again, we discussed it, Tony. If you think Kobe is the GOAT, because look at behind me, Tony. I got Kobe right there for you. And it's made in the style of the Sega Game Gear slash Sega Genesis style motif. And I thought that was just absolutely brilliant as well. If he is your GOAT, get something like right behind me. Look at that right behind me on Kobe. You can have that quality too right there for you at Tripsha Shop on Instagram and Twitter. Just absolutely fantastic right there for you. And just let everybody know, yes, I did go shopping on Xbox store. I did go shopping on the Xbox store, and I did get, I think, what was it? Okay, the Batman Arkham collection. I think that was $5, $4 for the entire collection. I got the Shadow of Mordor collection, both the first and the second game, plus all the add-ons for $7. And I topped it all off with the Skyrim anniversary upgrade with the original version and also the anniversary upgrade for that $16.49. Well, there's a ton of deals out there. If you are a gamer out there, I wanted to make sure to let you know before the end of the year is up, please at least go ahead and check out your local Epic store, um, Steam, GOG, or also as well, of course, PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo as well. Go ahead and check out those great places. So the Lakers came into today, wanted to see if they could go ahead and close the year right for the year 2025. But it's been a kind of up and down season. And this night tonight is pretty much a microcosm of the entire year for the Lakers on what is and what it could be as far as the Lakers tonight heading into tonight's game against the Detroit Pistons. And tell you what, right from the get-go, the same problems we've been dealing with, except for against Sacramento, we saw a lot tonight as the Detroit Pistons got off the first quarter, scored at will. Defense again for the Lakers, very suspect as they got off to a 36-30 lead. And second and third quarters, the Lakers tried to get close. They got as close as 3 points. They actually tied the game in the second half. But in the start of the fourth quarter, the Detroit Pistons, right around 10-point lead, started to open it up. JJ Redick would not call a timeout, let it go, got worse and got worse and got worse, and just became a blowout from there. The Lakers continually got blown away on the defensive end. Their fast break points as far as compared to Detroit was just absolutely just minimal at best. Fast break points, the Lakers got outscored 31-12. Points in the paint, it was just a carousel to the basket for Detroit as they outscored the Lakers in the paint 74-44. Let me just tell you that again. Points in the paint. Detroit outscored the Lakers 74-44. And the Lakers, who just didn't really have a chance. They had one small lead, but outside of that, it was the Pistons all the way, as the Pistons end their road trip with a drubbing of our Los Angeles Lakers on national television, if that still means anything. 128-106. The Lakers fall to 20-11. They are now fifth place in the Western Conference, tied with the Minnesota Timberwolves as far as games back. They do have a little bit better percentage, so they are percentage points ahead of the Timberwolves, but they're both 7 games back in the Western Conference. And here today to discuss today's game, looks like he's back at the command center for I Got Next Sports Media. He is back from his time as Independence Bowl. I won't even talk about the Trojans because that overtime for the USC
Yeah,
Trojans.
I just
I
saw the highlights.
you know what? I tell you what. All I'll say is this because I had it on split screen with the Lakers game, and you know what? I'll just say that I think you and I could do a better job of tackling on that last play, and I'll just leave it at that. They went from a third down and 20 to a
Mm.
nice pass. Could have gotten 8 to 10 yards. That's fine. But they let him go 1, 2, 3, 4 missed tackles later, and he's walking 40 yards into the end zone.
Yeah.
But it is a good man indeed. He covers the college football, the NBA game, and more. It is, of course, legend. Great to have you here, my friend. I do see a super chat, so let me go ahead and put it on there. Again, happy and safe New Year to you, my friend. Happy and safe New Year to everybody out there. Let me go ahead and get caught up on the super chat comments right here because I know that one put in Intel Wild, my friend, as always, is out there. Happy and blessed New Year to you, my friend. Vegas had Pistons by 3 tonight. That's not uncommon. I mean, they're leading the Eastern Conference. At the start of the game, I told my dad I would have bet $1,500 on the Pistons if I was in Vegas. And you know what, Legend? I think I might have too if I was Intel as well. I mean, the Lakers just get off to bad starts against quality teams as of late, and they just have a hard time making up that difference.
Yeah, I would have probably did the same thing too. And it just the part I'm gonna say Gerald with is like absolutely crazy about this game tonight. And shout out to Georgia Southern, y'all won y'all both against App State. I appreciate that. I won some money off that.
I wish USC did, but yeah.
That game I lost money off. Look, I bet USC to win big too. I'm gonna say for the Lakers tonight. The thing about this game is
Lincoln Riley's got to go.
Yeah, you got to go. I saw Twitter about that. It's like to me the Pistons didn't play that great. This was a winnable game honestly, and there was a lot of times the Pistons like throwing the game to you. They get giving the game to you, and you just couldn't capitalize. And the turnovers from Luka and LeBron was just baffling. I don't know. Maybe LeBron mind is on going to party tonight for the 41st birthday or not, but it just their focus wasn't there tonight, and it was just that was embarrassing. That was pretty embarrassing, and it just you got to redo this roster. It's pretty obvious at this point. Not having AR out there not as a shooter and not having Ruby that hurt it too. Then you saw Luka bang up. He came back at least. Not for sure they're gonna do some looking into that part, but it just the effort part is like some turnovers. It's too many turnovers that is questionable, very questionable, and it cost you. This is what I said the other night. I want to see you beat Sacramento. That's a bad team. I don't count that too much. Play a good team. Let's see what you can do. You had a good team tonight, and we saw what happened. So now I'm just looking like, man, Mark Walter, it's about time, man. It's my time to go and clean house. It's looking ugly. It's a bad way to go into 26.
Happy birthday, LeBron, to you. Yeah, happy indeed. Yeah, happy 41st birthday as you get smoked
Yes,
along
no.
with the rest of the Los Angeles Lakers, 128-106. And you know what? I said this on our Discord. You know what? Because it's mentioned to me, Gerald, there's going to be a lot of haters tonight. Oh, absolutely.
Oh
And
yeah.
they have every right to come in here and hate on the Los Angeles Lakers. If you want to go off on the defense, if you want to go off on Luka Doncic, 9 of 22 tonight, 30 points, 11 assists, 8 turnovers for him. If you want to go off on 41-year-old LeBron James, happy birthday to him, 17 points, 3 of 10 from 3, not really good. 5 turnovers for him. If you want to go off on the bench outside of Jackson Hayes' performance, who is 5 for 5 at 13 points, by all means,
80.
because you can find fault with almost every aspect of the Lakers game today. But the one thing that I think kills the most is the fact that so many turnovers by the Lakers, 21 in total. Now, that wasn't too many of a difference there, Legend, because Detroit had 20.
They had a lot of turnovers too.
But the fast break points had turned into 31-12 in favor of the Pistons and the points in the paint. This is what killed the Lakers. They outscored the Lakers by 30 in the paint. And that is truly disappointing indeed.
And something I saw somebody in the chat brought up, I forgot all about it. 8 and 2 rebounds. Come on, man. Come on, dog. You too tall to be getting 2 rebounds. Come on. I better not go look at the stat and see Luca, one of the other guards, got more rebounds than you. That's unacceptable, man. You gotta be kidding me. But that points in the paint kills him. That's just unacceptable, man. That's just you gotta question the whole team at this point. Wait, come on, man. I mean, I know the Pistons number 1 team in the East, but that's just unacceptable though.
And when it's a home game on national television, and that's you do not want to get embarrassed on national television. Although it doesn't have that same kind of je ne sais quoi meaning as it did in the past, because everything's on now on streaming and cable and
Right.
now it could be seen by people worldwide. I mean, heck, we were doing that today in Discord, so it doesn't really have that same je ne sais quoi. But an embarrassment is an embarrassment. And the Lakers just at home have just played lousy this season. But also here today, good man indeed. He was trying to get home to go ahead and talk about today's game, but it is, of course, the man behind the Joe Soro experiment. It is my good friend Joe Soro. Joe, good to have you here. He was like, I'm driving home. I'm like, not an excuse, man, not an excuse. But the Lakers, again, just zero effort on the defensive end. And again, just like a layup line by getting killed by 30 in the paint, 21 turnovers, absolutely ugly game. But again, it just seemed like everybody talks about how the Lakers gave up tonight, Joe, and how the Lakers body language looked in that second half once they started getting down. But it was that run, that final dagger run by the Detroit Pistons when it went from a 10-point game to a 20-point game. It seemed like JJ Redick threw up the white flag as well.
Well, he had mentioned how you have to play through the fouls that aren't going to be called because Detroit's a physical team, and the Lakers did get calls. Problem is they couldn't hit free throws, couldn't get and ones on a regular basis, couldn't guard them, couldn't play any fundamental basketball, kept turning the ball over, couldn't get a rebound without turning it over. It is a flawed roster that's starting to come to fruition here, and then also, yeah, you just don't have any kind of desire by anyone, and there were signs even a month ago. I tend to look at body language. I tend to look at just overall aura of somebody, and I have never seen. Even when JJ Redick was playing basketball, I never saw him look this disheveled. When you look at just his face and his hair and his skin, he looks like he's been dying. He looks like he's been suffering. I'm like, dude, maybe you shouldn't have taken this job. Maybe you should have went and coached in Charlotte or New Orleans or Detroit if you didn't want to deal with this kind of stress. Those places are not going to be as stressful as LA, believe it or not. I mean, living in Detroit is pretty bad, but in terms of coaching the team, but it's not a good look. He does not look good. And LeBron has as much of a history of his longevity in terms of his rep. The other part of it is the fact that he wears out virtually every single head coach he's ever had. And I'm not blaming him for what's going on. It's just how it goes. He doesn't really help the matter. He doesn't necessarily lead in the traditional form of a number one great player, right? Which always puzzles me too, because I've always thought the best coach he ever had was actually Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel was very complimentary of LeBron to the point where it was very company man-like, and it looked convincing, right? I knew it was bullshit, but I for the deadheads out there that don't have any sense of things, they bought into that, and it worked because again, LeBron's one of those guys where you have to make sure you stroke his ego every 5 seconds of the day, otherwise he gets kind of pouty, right? Looking at it from Luka's standpoint, I am pretty positive in assessing that. I think he understands what's coming, and I think he's just kind of going with the flow and doesn't want to create too many problems. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. If it was still Jeannie and Rob that were gonna run this thing, I would have been very, very worried. But as of right now, I feel very comfortable that once May hits, sometime in May, whether they lose in the first round or whether they lose in the second round, this team, as you see right now, will be 90% gone. And that, to me, is kind of how that's the positiveness in this. That's the positive that I'm focusing on. I'm not really worried too much about what the results are going to be between now and playoff time. And it's unfortunate, too, because there's really no set team, even as good as OKC is. I'm not afraid. I'm not scared of OKC like I used to be scared of the Golden State Warriors, the Lakers when they were playing, obviously, but in a positive realm because I was a fan, right? And then you had the Spurs and Miami Heat. Like I don't have any like that kind of fear with any team in the NBA. I just don't. And would have been nice if they had been able to continue what they were doing in the first month and a half. It's just the reality is it's just they're not good enough.
There is a chasm. There is a distance between the Lakers and the top of the league. And I think it's just legend in recent games. It's become very apparent. The Lakers have lost 7 of their last 12. And I'm going to tell you, legend, I was at the store today, go around to a couple stores, and I'm wearing, okay, I got this for Christmas, got the hoodie, and then I got the matching, got matching stuff right here. Got matching, we go ahead, matching stuff right here, as far as the full outfit. And I'm walking around and I have people left and right, not kidding you guys, left and right, say, like the outfit, man, like the outfit, go Lakers. I'm just like, go Lakers. So I'm feeling good, legend. You're feeling good. You're supporting your team. You're feeling good. How sucky it must feel when you support your team like that. You're proud to wear the colors. You go out there and you get slapped around by the Detroit Pistons. It wasn't even close in that fourth quarter. The Lakers never made it close. They gave up. Literally, they seemed to run dry. And you can see it in their body language. You can see it in their effort. Once the lead went to 15, it was all downhill from there. But again, that being said, I didn't see any real animation from JJ Redick. He saves it for the press conferences. He saves it for the private practices or whatnot, film sessions. Do it in front of everyone. If the Lakers are going to get embarrassed on I'm going to say national, I forget the national television, if on NBC, they're going to get embarrassed like this on a worldwide audience because that's where it's being broadcasted to. Do it in their faces so they can get embarrassed on worldwide television by their coach as well, legend.
I agree. That's one thing I kind of said as well, that if you're gonna talk that talk, you gotta walk that walk as well. And it's almost like you kind of showing face for the cameras, but I don't know if you're actually doing it with the players. Like, if you mean that, hey, do it. Embarrass them in the middle of the game. Do what you got to do. Sometimes that's what it takes. Yeah, that's why I kind of wonder a little bit. I kind of agree with Gilbert Arenas on this part, that I kind of wonder, like, you sure that you really can talk like that to a LeBron or a Luka? Them guys respect you enough to go that far? Because no offense, LeBron has 4 rings. You got 0. No offense. I can't blame him not to take you that serious. So I just wonder, like, you really all about that talk, or you just fluff for the cameras and all that? I just wondered it, because like you said, Jerry, you should have just called him out in the middle of the game. You're getting embarrassed, so what's the difference?
Just rubbing his head, just standing around. looking around, looking a little mad, look frustrated, but just keeping tight-lipped and then just letting it go, letting the ash go. He was doing his best Phil Jackson routine. But the thing is, when Phil Jackson did it, he found Joe opportune times to let this play itself out. The old let them play it out mode. In these cases with JJ, it just seems like, you know what? He is throwing the white flag himself. And Daniel Berry Sports Highlights said it best. That second half, especially that fourth quarter, Joe, was unacceptable.
Yeah, but it's not a surprise. They're just LeBron has played 14 games this season, and they're they're 5-7 in the month of December. They haven't really played very well this month. They came out the gates pretty well. There was some cohesiveness, some chemistry here and there. They were winning games on the road, but I think I just no, I don't think. I know that it's just the parts aren't working. They're not going to work. They may win 45 to 50 games still, but I would be in shock if this team got out of the first round at this point. I think they might be worse than they were even last year. And I think a lot of it too is mental. I think they know what's coming. And JJ Riddick, I don't really have. I'm indifferent. I'm indifferent with him because coaching in the NBA, this isn't something where you can just tag it as, oh well, JJ doesn't know how to coach. Well, most coaches in the NBA are pretty damn good coaches, but they're only as good as the star player that's going to allow them to do what they need to do to win. That's usually the problem with the NBA. And this isn't just a 2025 problem or 2026 problem. It has always been a problem because the star player is so rare. If that guy isn't on board, you have no chance as a coach to be successful. And JJ Riddick will likely need to just have Luka and then a team of guys that are connected, not Dalton connect other connectors to a game that's going to best suit Luka Doncic. And that's really the only answer that we have here. That's the future of the Lakers is they have to get what they have right now gone, and they need to form a team that'll best use Luka Doncic's game and then hopefully also allow the head coach, if it's JJ Riddick, to best put his team in the right positions. And I'd like to think that JJ Riddick does coach grit and does coach to be tough, but we don't know if he's able to. We're not going to really know if he's going to be able to communicate it to where his team can embrace it. Right now, this team is too problematic from a personality standpoint. LeBron is never going to really. He's been a very difficult guy to coach his entire career, whether he was good or normal, right? And then you have the DeAndre Aytons, you have the Marcus Smarts. It's just that these guys are not those guys. They're not young guys, talented guys, understanding their role guys that are going to go to that next extra length to make sure they do the right thing. I mean, you look at somebody like Austin Reeves, right? He's supposed to be the guy, and he's shown that he's a team player and he's accommodating, but his game doesn't say that though. Him standing around and watching the ball to me shows that he does have mental lapses. He doesn't really take his half of the half of the game seriously. It's not the right parts. And I'm not if an audience is enamored by points, oh my God, he scored 40 points and three times in 2 weeks. Okay, that's great. But what does that mean when you're scoring 40 points, but you're allowing 30? Now we have to start looking at net net problems there, right? Because the difference between, let's say, Austin Reeves versus Luka Doncic is a guy that can create problems that don't necessarily show on a stat sheet. Austin Reeves is about matter of fact, him scoring, him being able to rebound or hit a three. That they're very singular. Whereas Luka Doncic creates things that again don't show on the stat sheet, and he does struggle on defense. But I'd like to think he's been playing a little bit better the last few weeks from what I've seen. But it's not enough because you still need four of the guys to be in tune to guard teams that are able to penetrate at will and shoot open shots at will. It seems like it's just that you can't expect one guy to put all that together. It's just a discombobulated team, and it's starting to come. It's starting to come to the forefront now. I don't know if they're ever going to get out of it. At least for this, I don't know if they're going to get out of it.
And again, I want to mention it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us. The Lakers unfortunately get their butts kicked with a terrible fourth quarter as they lose 128-106. They're now 20-11, tied for fifth place in the Western Conference. And Legend, you know what? You get it to, as far as on your channel, and I get it on a lot of mine. And Pinty last night, I really am rooting for a guy like Pinty because he was sending me messages throughout the night, Legend, as far as trade possibilities, looking at teams from all across the NBA. You could see he really wants this team to find more wins this season. And I really appreciate that effort. Really, truly appreciate that. He's sending me YouTube messages at 2, 3, 4, 7 in the morning and whatnot. And again, I can't fault the kid at all. I'm not mad at him doing that because I know he's just very passionate about how he feels about this team. And I will respectfully, as soon as I get those messages, respond back in kind. But I had to keep telling him all the players that you're looking at are just not going to make up the difference because the Lakers have so many flaws, Legend, as far as what they have. And Austin and Luka's early run in this season kind of covered up for a lot of those flaws that they had. And I think that we're seeing in recent games a lot of the teams now going to the playbook, going to the video, seeing where the flaws are with the Lakers. Athleticism, bench scoring, defense as a whole, just rebounding issues, turnovers issues. It's a myriad of issues for the Lakers. The fact that they cannot shoot consistently from the outside. Luka and LeBron were 6 of 21, I believe, or is it 6 of 22 on the? No, actually 6 of 21. 6 of 21 from 3 today. That is absolutely terrible, but this is become a repeating norm for this team, and teams are starting to figure the Lakers out, and that's the problem, Legend. Once a team's been figured out, all the mock trades or all the trades or all the rotation players that you think would be a better fit on this team are not going to make up for all the flaws that you currently have, Legend.
Yeah, you're right, and I hear that a lot. I even hear people still bring up LeBron James trades. I'm like, you can't trade him. You got no trade clause. You can't do that. Yeah, it needs a lot of trades to fix a lot of his roster. I think a lot of this mess probably won't get cleaned up until you just get a lot of people off the books and you have a chance to really redo the entire roster almost from scratch. And then you'll get all the new draft picks, new first round picks that you can use to go find the pieces you need. But it's gonna be hard to make certain trades because it's some issues you just can't fix without going into the off season really. And like you said, Gerald, at the beginning of the season, AR hot start that kind of covered up a lot of stuff, and that's why I told a lot of people when the Lakers started off hot, it reminded me so much of how the Warriors were last year. They started off hot, and then about December, January, you saw the real thing for who they are. I feel like that's what's happening right now. Just an instant replay. The real,
it was like a rubber band. It stretched out to a really decent record, than they had, like you said, December, January, or actually when DeAnthony Melton got hurt, it started to fall apart until they got to around a 500 team until they got Jimmy Butler. Then it stretched out again before the playoffs. Will that happen for the Lakers? I don't know, Joe. But again, right now, I think no matter what trades we do, because we have such a dearth of assets, not a wealth, a dearth of assets to trade outside of expiring contracts, I just don't see enough fixes that will cure all the Lakers' problems this season, my friend.
Well, what makes a special player is a player that can be consistent for an entire 82 game season. And the problem we're seeing with Austin Reeves is he came out the gates like an all-star, but his body, and I don't know how his preparation is, but when I hear about hamstring pulls, groin pulls, typically when you hear about those type of injuries, that means, and I again, this is most of the time, if not almost all the time, that means there's preparation that's not being done to the body. Because I don't remember Jerry Rice ever pulling a hamstring or pulling a groin, or Kobe Bryant pulling a groin or a hamstring. The only time Kobe got injured is when he was dislocating his shoulders because he was going to the basket, breaking his hand because somebody hit it, his knee going out on him after 14 years of grinding, right? You never heard these soft tissue injuries. And soft tissue injuries usually start to happen in two spots: lack of preparation when you're young, and that could be your diet, could be a myriad of things. And then the other is when you start to wear out at the end of your career. And you have both those players on this team from 1 to 15, basically, or anybody that's important. So Austin Reeves blowing a tire here for a month should tell you that he isn't necessarily capable of being him for 82 games a year plus the playoffs. Don't forget that, by the way, guys. We just said 82 games. We need somebody. You're not counting the other two and a half months of playoff games. It's a grind. It's a major grind. And there isn't a player on this team right now, including Luka Doncic, that has been showing an 82 game run plus playoffs on a consistent basis. LeBron used to be that guy, but I can't expect somebody. I'm sorry. He is the exception right now because he is in a rare area. You don't ever see a 23-year pro player in any league that's going to be this guy that's going to make a difference more often than not. You just don't. You don't see that. You don't even see it in baseball anymore. You used to see it in baseball. The Bill Buckners of the world, the Nolan Ryans of the world, the Pete Roses, those guys don't exist anymore. Guys don't last 20 years like they used to. The game is too difficult now. Analytics has changed everything. You got pitchers that are throwing 105 miles an hour now, and every team has at least one of those guys, at least. So you don't see those 20-year players anymore, even in that league. You're definitely not going to see a lot of productive 23-year vets in the NBA because it's just not, again, very realistic to expect someone to go run with a bunch of 25-year-olds that can run like deers and jump like freaking bears trying to catch salmon. It's just not. It's just this team is a slightly better version of the 2022 team. That's it. Too old, too inadequate, but it's really, really a good thing that it's going to end in 4 months. That's all we have to wait for. And this time we don't have to worry about having the Rob Pelinkas and the Genie Buses determine the next phase of the Laker run. That is gone too. Now you're going to have real adults with real resources and real brains that are going to start fixing this problem. So that's why I'm not too concerned. I really am not. And I really haven't. Well, Johnny, I'm not saying you got to play every game, all 82 games, but this missing a month business doesn't help. This team can't afford to miss a month. And as the team gets as teams in the NBA get watered down more and more, and if this commissioner of theirs decides to expand even more without moving teams to these particular cities that he wants to quote unquote expand to, I think this is gonna get even worse. The game is gonna get even worse. Because you're not gonna really have any great teams. You're gonna have kind of what you're seeing this year. And I don't know, guys, is FanDuel not being able to send their checks? Is that posing an issue? Are they keeping it under wraps? I don't know. The NBA is not gonna go away, right? But what exactly is the future of the NBA right now? Is it entertaining enough to watch for the general fan?
Not
We're
tonight's
watching
game, that's for sure.
We're
Joe, not
watching because
tonight.
we have a show that we do that we enjoy doing. And if I wasn't doing the Lakers fast break, I don't know if I'd be watching the games as much as I am. And that's sacrilege sometimes when I think about it, because I've been watching Laker games almost every day during the season for a very, very long time. I'm talking about 30 years.
Once again,
Hey, Gerald,
yeah.
I don't know who the mod is here, but get this fucking moron paw socks
Yeah,
out of
we
here.
got the Red Sox guy. Can you
Yeah.
guys go ahead and time him
Yeah, I
out?
mean, these fucking dinks who are jerking off behind their phones while they do this,
If you're a Celtics fan, that's fine. You come here, you can say Celtics.
Nah, he's not a
but
Celtics fan. He's a guy that's taking in the ass right now while he's talking.
It's the stuff afterwards that's no good. That's you don't need that other stuff. Yeah, you can just go ahead.
That's what
and
he
just
dreams of. That's what he wants everybody to want. That's what he wants everybody to have, just like him.
Thank you so much. Appreciate
Probably
it.
a bot. It's
There you
probably
go.
some fucknut somewhere in another country just trying to fuck with people.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. It is Joe Soro and Legend, along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for joining us. Truly appreciate it. 128 to 106. The Lakers lose. Lakers fall to 2011 on the season. Fifth place in the Western Conference. Legend.
Gerald, let me answer Johnny's question real quick. So he's talking about expanding to Seattle and Vegas, which is likely the two cities. And he's mentioning Vancouver, and I don't know why Puerto Vallarta is an option there. That's an interesting one. But Vancouver has I was actually sad that they had left Vancouver for
great
Memphis.
city. I've been to it.
Problem
twice. It's
is,
a great city.
Vancouver now is 10 times worse than it was then in terms of being able to afford anything there.
Oh, that I'll give you that.
Yeah, you can't afford anything there. The laws are strict, and then taxes are horrible.
The community itself is great because I've been to that again. I've been there twice in recent years, and I've had nothing but a great time. And
visiting is fine, but living there is not likely going to be
that I can get you. I know the price tag. Yeah, I went when I'm there. I felt that firsthand. So staying there in Vancouver for a little while, yeah, that was obviously very pricey indeed. But again, it didn't work the first time in Vancouver, so I don't know if it's going to work there the second time. But then again, Seattle, everybody's pumped up about Seattle being the first option for expansion or a team being moved there. But how did it happen to that they got taken away to Oklahoma City like a thief in the night? As far as that for first time around. So hopefully
because they kept jerking around and not committing to anything. And then all of a sudden,
a new arena was
then David Stern's like, look, if you guys are going to keep jerking around, then I'm going to have to go around this. And that's really what ended up happening.
So let me get it back to you, Legend. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Again, we are in the same boat as far as our teams, the team that you follow in the Eastern Conference with the Atlanta Hawks and Trae Young, who, since his return, the Hawks have been decidedly worse upon that. And now with the Lakers, they will have a player in Austin Reeves. Everybody knows his contract situation. He is out for the next few weeks, and it's going to be interesting to see how good or bad the Lakers play in his interim, but leading up to his unfortunate month-long injury that he's going to be out for, it didn't look really great with him in the lineup. So as much as we could say, oh yes, well, Austin Reeves, we didn't have him there tonight. He might have made a difference, yada yada yada. Even he, like Intel says, his early start when he was on fire, he's not been able to sustain at that level since those first few games where he was just unreal.
Yeah, it just lets you know he kind of began to kind of slow down a little bit, and it looks like he's finna get his first All Star too. Based off the vote that just came out, but it did lucky it did kind of begin to slow down some, and you're gonna have a chance to kind of see how the team looks even too without Austin being there. Just like with the Atlanta Hawks, they look worse since Trey came back, and looking like the talks about maybe it's time to go and ship him out is starting to get louder and louder. So, kind of interesting to see what's going to happen. Keep hearing the word Anthony Davis name keep being thrown out. So,
yeah, I know that's a new infatuation for the Hawks, and yeah, that back end of just enjoy the back end of that Anthony Davis contract, and also as well when he's on. What I think, okay, guys, if you check out, I'm not a big fan of Windhorse and whatnot, but he did report on the Hoop Collective how many times Anthony Davis has been reported with some type of injury or listed with some type of injury, whether or not he played or not. And I think it's over 150 times he's been listed with injuries. Now, LeBron is the all-time leader on this as far as I'm concerned, because with over 200. But that's based off of all the years that he's played. So, yeah, again, if you guys want Anthony Davis, more power to you. But that is just not a great value contract at this point.
I'd rather tank at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. But I will say Seattle, you're right, Johnny. Seattle is not exactly a cheap place. I mean, when I went to Vancouver, I was staying most of the time in Seattle on both of those occasions because my son, who was a dentist, lived in that area for a little while, and we were going there. And yes, Seattle is definitely not a cheap place to live as well. But again, the Lakers, Joe, just absolutely are not finding any rhythm at all. They've got, I believe, Memphis coming up on Friday. They need to right the ship because they're going out on a road trip here in the not too distant future. And you know what? Actually, the way they played at home, Joe, could a trip on the road be something even better that they might actually play a little bit better and more motivated on the road? They have a better record on the road.
Yeah, but it's this last week or so has more to do with the fact that they're not they're just not mentally strong enough. They're not physically strong enough. They're not a good organization right now. And we Laker fans are only really about winning it all. It's not about being 20-11. That's great when you're a middle tier team like the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I mean that in terms of the market, right? The history of those teams. Most teams other than the upper echelon elite are going to look at a 2011 record and go, oh, this is great. We know what's going on with this team. We know that they have major issues, and we already saw a little bit of it last year when they were a 3 seed and still looked like they didn't belong in the playoffs. It's just not a it's a weird team that wins, but they're not good enough. So that's the only way I can put it. They can't close games. They get exposed by athletic teams. They quit too many times. It's not the league in general, the mental part of the league, the physical part of the league really, really screwed up the last decade or so in catering to the NBA player. It catered so much to the player that they rewarded insubordination. They rewarded more guaranteed money to a bunch of guys that are really slobs to me. I think Kawhi Leonard is a slob. I think everybody associated with him is a slob. James Harden is a slob. Kevin Durant, I admire his love for the game, but he's kind of I don't know. I don't have any, like, you don't look at Kevin Durant in a lot of ways, especially after he left OKC. I used to look at him in a certain way, but after leaving OKC, he became just an ornery, a kind of a obnoxious person. I don't mind ornery. You know, we watched Larry Bird play. He was a pretty kind of mean guy, but he showed up on the court and you saw greatness no matter what was going on in terms of his personality. You don't have anyone to really look at and go, wow, this guy is an amazing, like, ambassador of the NBA. You just don't see it. Who's there? I know that SGA is a nice player, obviously, good player, great player, but is he somebody that carries a league? No. Jokic is a reluctant leader of that, which is, again, fine, because Larry was like that too. His game is a beautiful game to watch. I'd say maybe Jokic, and then Luka has his moments. But how are you going to have someone like Luka look good when it's just looking at it today? You know, he had 8 turnovers, isn't shooting really well from long distance, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that is, what else can the Lakers do? Because I saw at least 6 times, and there was more times, but this is how many that stuck in my head, where Luka was trying to create some kind of coherent offensive path, and everyone is standing around. So what do you want Luka to do at that point? Do you want him to yell at you so that then chemistry's all weird and everybody's uncomfortable? Like I don't know what else that guy can do. If you move around, if you put in the effort to get open, he's gonna get you the ball. That's his job. But I don't see that effort there. And then on top of that, these guys can't hit open shots. LaRavia can't hit open shots. Connect can't hit open shots. Marcus Smart can't hit open shots on a regular basis. LeBron is not a shooter, so I'm not expecting him to hit open shots. Austin Reeves, when he's playing, isn't necessarily a stand-up shooter. So what is that going to do now? He needs the ball in his hands. So how does that work? Oh, well, it worked at the beginning of the year without LeBron there, but having a third ball handler is not going to help either. It's just not a good team. It's just not. They've won on, I guess, talent that maxed out, and now it's busted a piston. Pardon the pun.
Pardon the pun, indeed.
And here you are. Now we have to wait for one of those guys that was a big part of their winning to come back after a month, because he put so much energy the first month and a half, he didn't have enough to finish the season. He's not gonna be able to do that.
Nick T, don't just the pain you're putting in yourself when you say Trey Murphy. What we need and what we will get are pretty essentially the same.
The Lakers need this. The Lakers need one thing right now, and that is patience. And so does the Laker fan base. There is not a single player out there that they can get based off of their assets that's going to bring anything of relevance this year. Zero. There's just no one they could get with the resources they have. But what you can do is you can save yourself so much headache by just accepting what's going to happen this year and wait for May to arrive, so that those dead contracts, and again, Marcus Smart is going to opt out, DeAndre Ayton is going to opt out, so that money is also going to be gone. The only guy that's going to stay a Laker in May, other than Luka, will be Vanderbilt, and he has a couple years left on his contract with where he doesn't make a lot of money. So Lakers, if I was making this decision, I would say don't worry about this season. Do your best. Try to do what you can. If things go well, great. If not, don't worry. We are going to shed everything. And as far as re-signing guys, Austin Reeves is probably going to be the priority in this, in terms of how that goes. What you tell his agent and you tell Austin, you say, hey guys, go find what you believe you deserve and then come back to us and we'll negotiate from there. If somebody out there is dumb enough to offer him a $40 million a year contract for 4 years, you shake his hand and you say, Austin, it was really good having you here. Good luck. We hope you do well. That's how that conversation goes. As
So
far as
you don't mind losing him for nothing.
not even a little bit.
Okay.
Because he cannot be your second highest paid player.
No, but I meant trading
him
away.
Trading him for what?
Just I don't care anything at this point. But I'm just saying trading him or just losing him for nothing. It sounds like you don't mind losing him for nothing.
Well, losing him for nothing is,
or just letting him walk.
Someone has to trade for him and give the Lakers assets, likely a first pick or more, and then are they going to risk spending that kind of capital so that they can have Austin for 2.5 months to win a championship, or are they going to extend them right there? Those are the questions you want to ask yourself. Is there a team out there that is an Austin Reeves away from competing for a championship and is willing to give up draft capital? And why? This is the NBA, Gerald. This isn't baseball. They're going to have to send even money back. So is that team going to send a expiring contract or contracts to get Austin with draft capital? Because I'm not taking on any contracts. No one, unless it's an elite player. But then why would that team send you an elite player for Austin Reeves if they're trying to compete for a championship? You see where I'm going with this? It's not going to happen. There isn't a market for him at the deadline. The market for him will be this summer. If somebody wants to give the Lakers expiring contracts to make contracts match and give us draft capital for Austin Reeves, hell yeah, I'll do it. But who? Who is dumb enough to do that? There is no one out there that's going to do that. If it wasn't matching contracts, then hell yeah. Yeah, it'd be like baseball, right? They're going to go get Tarek Skubal, right? They don't have to give Tarek Skubal. You don't have to give Detroit $100 million of matching Skubal contracts to get him. They just send him prospects and whatever, and then you get him, right? And in the NBA, you got to match the contracts. And as far as Trae Young is concerned, Johnny, Trae Young is already playing the Luka role. That would be counterproductive too. It wouldn't make any sense.
For disaster.
Yeah, you're not going to do that. Yeah, you're not going to do that. I think
you send away. You let a non-defender in Reeves walk, and you bring back a non-defender that's smaller in Trae Young.
Here's what you need, Jay.
It's the AR 2.0.
JSJ just said it. What you need on this team is 3 athletes that can get to the basket, that are athletic. Basically what you saw in Detroit today. You saw a lot of those guys, right? And you don't just see it in Detroit. You see it in other places too. Houston, you see it in Oklahoma City. You want to send 3 guys with Luka that can run, move, jump, and then we need maybe one of those guys that can shoot at a consistent level. And then if you can get a big that can shoot and play some defense, then now you have a team that's better set for a heliocentric Luka run offense. It's gonna take money that's gonna be available in the summer to possibly sign that guy. You're gonna have a draft that you're gonna be able to have a chance to pick. And God help us all, please don't let Rob Pelinka do the picking there, right? I want Rob Pelinka gone with everyone else when the season ends. I want him gone, and I don't want to even remember he was here. That's kind of where my brain is on this. I want all the cancer cut out of this team. I want Clutch gone. I don't want to see Rich Paul's face or existence anywhere near the Lakers. And LeBron, I tip my hat off to him again. Thank you for the championship. He's one of the greats, but it's time to cut this out. It's time. It's ready to build around Luka and get the right management, get the right leaders in here so that we can stop talking about the same stupid bullshit game in, game out, year in and year out. It is absolutely exhausting.
Once again, it is the Lakers losing 128 to 106. Twilight ZN on the super chat. Thank you so much for doing so. Said, with AR out, it's time to see the two timelines offense. And I'll ask Joe about Dalton Connect here in a minute. But you guys got to stop punishing yourself by dreaming about New Orleans. New Orleans is not okay. New Orleans was dumb in many ways for doing the trade that they did during the summer, and they don't have the best front office. I get that, but I don't think even they are going to be that dumb enough to send us Trey Murphy or Herb Jones. We don't have enough first round picks. We have one first round pick. One first round pick will not get it done. We just don't have enough, guys. Just move on to something else. Now, when the Lakers have at the NBA draft 3 number ones, which
Now
they
you
will
got
have
some.
for that day and for that only day, because they have to utilize one of those first round trades, first round draft picks, then you can start talking about a Herb Jones and Trey Murphy. But for now, guys, this season, it's not going to happen. You're only punishing yourself. I worry about you guys when you keep doing this to yourself. It's concerning to me because it only feels like you guys are just feeling some angst inside that I would love to just say, you know what, just I wish I could say, it's going to happen, but it's not. Reality sets in, and no one is that stupid right now in the NBA. But then again, they traded us Luka, so
You never know.
you never know. But again, closing out the year of 2025, legend. We had a birthday today, 41 years old, LeBron James, and looked every bit at times today like the 41-year-old he is today. On the offensive end, 6 of 17, 3 of 10 from 3, 2 of 5 from the free throw line. That's the part that still kills me the most. Man, the all-time leading scorer, the GOAT, as on my beautiful new canvas art there, I got to find a place for. And I just, how many points did he leave at the free throw line? I think that's going to probably kill him over the course of years after he's retiring. But legend, I want to talk to you about LeBron real quick. Obviously, the legacy there and whatnot, and playing at 41 at a competent NBA level, because you see many of his peers, the Horfords, the Conleys, outside of Curry, anybody 37 or older, Durant too, those guys are still playing at a very high level. But we start to see with LeBron, especially when he came back for the injury, it's just not sustainable for him. And it looks like Father Time is really tapping hard on his shoulder right now.
I'm gonna say he had one heck of a career. Father Time is definitely starting to tap a lot more now. He's starting to see the age. He's starting to look more like a real 41-year-old guy. And I feel like even tonight when he played, he looked like he about 41. He looks like it. The end is definitely near. And just like Joe said a little while ago, I think his time in LA should be up. It's time to move on, close this chapter, and move forward. He had a heck of a run. Me personally, I'm not even a LeBron fan like that. Don't really care for him like that too much. But he should go back to Cleveland and do the farewell tour from there. I feel like that's the right way to do it. He should go and let next season be it. Because maybe he might surprise me and want to retire him this year. I just don't think he will leave without that farewell tour. I just don't. I feel
I
like
think his ego will let it.
I just don't. It is. He wants that attention. Like, look how he did that little PR stunt that had everybody in the world, including us, thinking, "Oh, he's finna leave," and he wants attention. I just feel like he's gonna want that farewell tour. So I feel like it's time to close the LA chapter at the end of the season. Do your 1 year in Cleveland. Do your farewell tour from there, and just going to end it. Because at the end of the day, I feel like the longer you play, you're making yourself look worse. Why not leave when you look still good? Leave with that note. Let people remember from that. Not watch you get to the point where you just look like, what in the world are you still doing out here? Point kind of me. And take Bronny with you. Because Bronny's probably cooked when he leave. It's probably over.
Please, absolutely would welcome that opportunity, but he has another guaranteed year and a fourth year team option. And again, Joe, let me bring it back to you. It just one of the many mistakes that Rob Pelinka, and I know you and I were going back and forth with Stefan. I don't know if he's here. Didn't see him in the chat tonight, but I hope he's doing well. Happy New Year to him. But we were going back and forth on the legacy of Rob Pelinka, and you know what? You cannot take away the 2020 title from him. I won't. I certainly won't. But ever since then, it has been a roller coaster ride with many ups and many downs. And in doing so, he has fashioned a team, especially this past season, where I was asking for more. A lot of people were asking for more. He decided not to because he was on the quote unquote, just like Twilight said, that 2 timelines deal where you're trying to be competitive, but you're also looking and have your eyes towards the summers of 26 and 27 with cap space, as Intel has astutely pointed out. So with that, you're going to have some ups and downs in your season, and the Lakers are having a down December right now with the 29th worst defense this month and only the 15th best offense to make up for it.
Yeah, and I think after tonight, I think their point differential is back to the negative again.
It is negative 0.4.
Yeah, there's certain stats that you can't ignore. That as much as when we talk about stats, it's usually personal stats that we'll balk at. It's legitimate stats like point differential that will tell us a story a little bit more in terms of.
Can I just tell you something here real quick, Joe? The most 20-point losses this season, and I already flashed it up earlier for everybody in the chat. The Wizards have 10 20-point losses this season, Joe. The Kings and the Jazz have 8. The Pacers and the Lakers have 6.
Yeah. Great teams good teams don't lose 6 times in a year by 20. We're not even done with December yet. There's 2 things going on there. There's a lack of motivation and a lack of care. It can't be talent. 20-point losses in the NBA are an embarrassment. Those are embarrassing losses. They should only be for a Washington Wizard with no talent. This team has talent. So that tells you right there, it's motivation and the negative pride that they have in themselves that allows them to continue to get embarrassed. And a lot of those have been at home. And that comes from the leaders. Who are the leaders of this team? What's the concern of those in and around this Laker team? It's not about winning. When you listen to somebody say something and you know the results are the exact opposite, how long are you going to wait to tell that person that what they're saying is complete and utter horseshit? Why do you think there's so many problems in the world? Because people don't call people out when it matters the most, early, before. No, they don't even do it when it's too late even. And it just makes things worse and worse and worse. This is a lapse in anything productive. Because the results say so. This isn't Joe Soro or the Lakers Fast Break or Gerald Glassford or Legend or some dipshit on the chat saying something. It has nothing to do with any of that. You guys are getting blown out by 26 times in a month and a half. We're not getting blown out. That's you. We're just kind of putting this in a text. We're putting it in verbally. What's going on? Why are you getting mad at us for us telling you what you're doing wrong? And that's the whole point, right? Positive, negative. Oh, the what did that idiot say, Darvin Ham? Fans take every game too seriously. That's the same dipshit that kept getting seventh seeds when he could have done himself a favor when LeBron was still rocking and rolling a little bit. If he had gotten the 3rd and 4th seed, maybe he would have made make a better run in 2023 when you were coaching. You know, those little things matter when you're at this level. Everything matters. And the coaches aren't being held accountable. Management isn't being held accountable. Stars aren't being held accountable. Has-been stars aren't being held accountable on top of that too, which makes it even worse. And then again, we have to listen to stupid idiots, all the cronies of these guys yapping on social media or doing interviews like we give 2 shits about what these idiots say. How about you spend your time doing an interview with these players and getting them to stop quitting at the end of games when things go wrong? How about you doing that instead of having to tell us the 500th time about who the GOAT is? Who gives a fuck who the GOAT is? I care about the 2025-2026 NBA season and winning. Who gives a shit about some arbitrary bullshit survey of who's who and who's what? So that's where we're at. This is the result of bad leadership, people in positions due to nepotism, people in positions due to comfortability. Guys, you know what I tell everybody around me when I do work? When I get too comfortable, I start to get worried. And that didn't come from me. That came from good mentors of mine growing up. I'll never not hear that. Joey, I remember my buddy Vinny said it. It's like, Joey, when you start to get comfortable, start to worry. Because when you get too comfortable, you're a human being. You naturally relax. You naturally aren't as motivated. You don't wake up in the morning and ready to go attack something. You go, you know what? I made good money last month. I'm going to probably, sleep in for the next week. Okay, sleep in one day. Okay, fine, maybe 2. But then when you have that mindset that you're not on to things and you're not trying to get better, you'll notice those 1 and 2 days start to become 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, a month. And that's really that's the best comparison I can show what the Lakers are, is they got comfortable. Winning those games on the road, having a good record, they got comfortable. Then all of a sudden, one starts to bust the tire here, one starts to bust the tire there. And then it's just like one after another. No one can stay healthy. There's no chemistry because everyone just keeps going in and out. And here you are. Now you're becoming what you probably were supposed to be. And that's it.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention, you guys were talking in the chat, have I been by Chase Center? But I heard it's really nice, that in the Intuit Dome. Would love to go sit and see both those arenas. I drove by the Chase Center, and I've been by the Intuit Dome, but I drove by Chase Center in August. It looks really, really nice. I'm spoiled here in Vegas, Legend, because the Allegiant Stadium is the highest grossing stadium in the U.S. and number 2 in the world. So we get it's a great venue. I hate what they did as far as the taxes to the consumers, but also mainly the tourists, because that's where they slap all the taxes eventually to, is the tourists coming in. So you can blame these new stadiums and all that.
And the tourists aren't coming, so how are they paying for anything?
They're going to slap more taxes on us then.
Taxes on the people.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't in favor of the Allegiant Stadium, but it does look nice every time I go there. Although I did have the chance, as I told you, Legend, and I passed up the toilet bowl that happened this past weekend with the Raiders and the Giants. I was offered free tickets, and I said, I do not want those tickets. I do not want to go watch that game. Do not want to go watch that game. I would rather watch Max Crosby doing backflips on his trampoline after he's been told to go home and not play in the game, than watch that fiasco that happened this weekend. Yes, I am in Vegas, Nick. So it is what it is, the Lakers. But I will say this, Legend, before we head out, I want to hear your thoughts on JJ Redick. I want to close out our thoughts on JJ Redick. Again, I was kind of up. Yeah, I wasn't upset. I'm just monitoring, because people always want us to have a definite opinion on JJ. And I still don't have a definite read on JJ 100%. He's feisty, he's brash, but sometimes his rants obviously get lost in the oblivion and gets ignored now by this team. His message doesn't always get across anymore. The pixie dust he might have been laying in both the first part of last season and the first part of this season seemingly gets kind of old after a little while. His in-game adjustments has been mentioned at times, has been suspect, and experienced coaches take advantage of him on that, and I've noticed that. But I don't want to say outright that he's a bad coach as of yet, because I'm still, again, trying to get a read on him, because definitively he will do some things outside the box that do work and hit from time to time, just enough to make you think, I want to think about this a little longer on whether or not they should retain him for long term. And with many years now, with his added on extension, if the Lakers decide to move on from him, they got to choke on a lot of dollars in this next offseason, if that's the case, if they send him and Rob Panking in about the end of the season, because they both got sweet extensions from Genie, Legend.
I would say this about JJ. I feel like he's done okay. He have his moments that he does really good, and he have his moments that the inexperience kicks in. And I feel like he's showing growing pains a good bit, but there also there's potential there too. I do sometimes think the Lakers job might be maybe in moments is a little over his head, because it's a lot of pressure being a Lakers coach. It's not easy. True. It's not easy. It's not an easy job. It's like basically it's almost like a new guy coaching for the first time, taking a job at Alabama University or UGA. That's a lot of pressure to take up, and it's not for everybody. So sometimes I think maybe the status of being a Lakers coach could be a little overwhelming for a guy who's still learning the ropes. But I feel like he's done well so far handling the pressure. I do think I wouldn't be surprised if eventually he probably end up getting let go. I do feel like that's going to end up happening. But I think there's a future for him in this league to be coaching. I just think for him, I feel like a Charlotte Hornets or a Washington Wizards probably would be a good start for him, because there's no expectations. And you can kind of go through the growing pain and learn the ropes and get better at coaching. So I feel like in the long run, that's probably going to be best for him. But overall, I feel like he's done okay. He's learning. Got a lot of work and a lot of improvement need to be made, but he's getting through. But I can sometimes tell when the expectations is getting to him. Like Joe mentioned earlier in the show, sometimes he be looking like, well, you done been through it the last 24
I'm checking for that hair dye. I'm checking for that hair dye to see if his hair's gone gray and he's just been, slapping the black hair dye on that right there on it. Just checking to make sure that, this, hasn't turned his hair white like mine as of yet. I'm just checking, just keeping an eye on it, just to make sure.
I just sometimes feel like the Lakers coaching job might just be a little too much for him.
As Beth says, yeah, his future might be working on ESPN as an analyst, and it might not be as far distant as he might think right now. But Joe, I will leave you with JJ as well, because again, we talked about our dissatisfaction with how this team was built. Obviously getting Luka, but you've had time now to build around Luka and have failed to really do so to any great extent. But the waiting game for people out there and Laker fans will probably have to begin once the clock ticks towards 2026 and wait until some changes are being made. But seeing our evaluations of JJ, and we're not always like he's a bad coach or he's a good coach, and he does do some things, and then he just takes those 2 steps back. He's gotten the Lakers off to 2 good starts in 2 seasons, but I think how he finishes up here this season will dictate whether or not he can stay long term.
It doesn't look like he's got the temperament for the trade. And I'm not too concerned on whether he will work out or not. I'm more focused on, as a fan, in the next phase of Laker leadership, where they'll be able to acquire talent so that they can compete for championships. I don't care if they keep JJ or if they don't keep JJ. That will determine itself at some point, and it'll be obvious. I'm just more excited about the season to end so that I am in full understanding that the Lakers are not going to do stupid things this summer. They're not going to re-sign LeBron. They're not going to. I just don't see them giving Austin Reeves a ridiculous contract if they
$241 million.
Yeah, that will not happen. It will not happen.
Yeah,
it just won't. And I feel very confident and very excited in the next phase. It's just we have to be patient and wait for it to end. And I knew this was going to likely be a dud season. I knew that this summer, and wasting a year of Luka's prime is unfortunate, but there is no other way to go about this. Once again, I'm going to put the onus on the NBA Players Association. They're the ones that agreed to this horrid collective bargaining agreement where it is essentially a pseudo hard cap. A hard cap in a league where talent, where it matters, is so limited. And what I mean by that is you don't have the LeBrons, the Durants, the Steph Currys everywhere. It's not the NFL. The NFL, you can find Tom Brady in the 6th round. You can find the Brock Purdy's in the last pick of a draft. There aren't any 4th, 5th round, because it doesn't exist now, but when it used to, there weren't any 4th, 5th, 6th round NBA all-time greats. I mean, right now we're witnessing a 2nd round pick with Jokic that will likely never be toppled. I don't think we'll ever see, at least not in the near future, someone that good that was picked in the 2nd round. My barometer was Manu Ginobili before him, right?
Yeah.
The Spurs got him. But the thing is, that had a little bit of a leniency to it to me, because outside talent was always a risk. It's always a risk. Hell, even Luka Doncic, for a lot of people, is this guy's game going to translate to the NBA? Well, those days are gone. Now we know how good these guys are. You don't see that anymore, at least not regularly. So it's at that point now where the high school popular crew is starting to turn into what, and I'm saying this because my 30th high school reunion is in 9 months. I'm curious to see what everyone is doing, right, after 30 years. But the popular crew now on this team are the guys that are now a few years out of high school, and now the realities of the world have leveled them down. They're not as cute and hot and popular as they were before, but their reputation, it's like they still are, but they're not. and that's kind of where we're at. And
go ahead, my friend.
and
By the
again,
way, I am your good friend, my friend Joe. Joe, was it Hungman Song? Good to have you back. I know you're a big favorite on Joe's the experiment. He said, Joe, are you on a plane on your way to Qatar?
no, I am not. I am mobile, but I'm not that mobile. The sad thing about this whole thing is the LeBron era was solidified with the 2020 title, but but much like LeBron's career, I feel that LeBron's, as great as his career has been, it left a lot on the table still. He was, I don't feel that, I feel that, and I feel this way for Shaq too. Shaq, I kind of put in the same category. Shaq only winning 4 championships, I think, was underachieving. Shaq, I can argue, had a 10-year prime. I mean, he came out of LSU a beast. I almost would even say that his rookie year was amazing. But for sure, his second season, in my view, was the beginning of his prime. He was right out of the gate, in my view, as dominant and as amazing as you could be from a talent standpoint. And he had a 10-year prime. And for him to only win 4 titles, I think it was 2 or 3 more in there for him to really solidify who he was. And if he had done that, he would have more than likely been the greatest center of all time, even above Kareem. LeBron is in that same boat to me. LeBron didn't win enough, in my view, and he played much longer. And a lot of that was because of some bad decision making, I feel, on his part and the people around him. I think that Russell Westbrook trade really, really, really put the nail in this with the Lakers, and they didn't have to make that deal. And I feel like they could have probably won another one had they not made that deal. They had just stuck with the guys that were. KCP won a championship, a year later, right? Like, he was still viable. You had Caruso, who a year after that was the first team All NBA, and then a year after that was on the second team, and he just won a championship after a year, a few months ago.
By the way, defense.
Yeah, for defense, right? And it's just it's sad that these lost opportunities, if you look at LeBron's career, the fact that he couldn't close out Dallas being up 2-1 in 2011, they couldn't handle the 2014 Spurs at the height of his powers. It's always been like that with him. He couldn't win the first 7 years in Cleveland because he didn't have enough talent, or they ran into the Celtics, whatever. There was always something with LeBron, and his Laker career is ending the same way. It was always something. And I'm tired of talking about things that aren't relevant to winning. I really am. I'm ready to turn this page. I'm tired of the Rob Pelinkas, the Genie Bus, the whole Bus family. Never in a million years I would ever have thought I'd ever say that. But Dr. Bus is the guy that I liked, and he's gone, and he's been gone. And everybody else after that, to me, is irrelevant. And it's nice that this process is almost over. I'm looking forward to the next process greatly. And I want everything that's been here the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years to just go. I want it to be gone. And I don't really want to think about it anymore. I'm ready for I just don't want to think about it. I'll enjoy the 2020 championship like I enjoy all of the championships, but I want the Luka era to start. And right now it's sort of still not starting. It's kind of crippled a little bit because of all the nonsense around them.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Wanted to go ahead and thanks so much, Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. He's on the East Coast, guys, so he was up till 2:45 in the morning for you guys. So really, truly appreciate him coming out of our way to talk about a team that he's not even a fan of. He's a fan of the Warriors and the Hawks, and just appreciate his insight because he does it so awesomely. So please support him with a like and subscribe, like hopefully you will do for us, for him at I Got Next Sports Media, and for us right here at the Lakers Fast Break. But we will be back Friday with the post game for the Lakers and the Memphis Grizzlies. I hope to, and I was sending a message to Legend before he left, that I'd like to see if we can do an NBA observation sometime tomorrow that I can post later tomorrow before the New Year's. That will be available for our members. And then on New Year's Day, hopefully will be available for our regular customers that stop on by. So you guys have something in the interim. But Joe, again, Friday, Memphis, one last home game, which home has not been a very much of a comfort for the Lakers as of late. But any last thoughts before we head on out?
Well, Memphis has been playing well lately, and John Morant seems to have gotten his act together. If they aren't distracted and continue to play well, it's going to be a tough 2-game stretch.
Yeah, he went for 40 tonight in a loss, but like you said, he has finally gotten it around. And Cedric Howard, who hit the rookie wall late November, early December, came back strong today with 28 points and 16 rebounds himself. Triple J had 15, 12, and 3, but they did lose in overtime to Philadelphia. But we will see what happens as the Memphis Grizzlies head on into the Crypto.com arena, which has been very friendly to the opposition as the Lakers once again lose 128-106. They are still in 5th place. One last thing I did want to mention, because we haven't really talked about it at all. Of course, we heard the devastating news and we saw it. I saw it firsthand. I said right off the bat, it looked like the same thing that happened to Nikola Jokic, Joe, happened to Giannis Antetokounmpo. If you remember that run where he got banged on his knee and his knee bent back, hyperextended, but didn't tear anything. And you know the results. He came back in just such a short time later and helped his team in the playoffs. But they are going to take it cautious with Nikola Jokic. He is out a month, with Aaron Gordon, Cam Johnson, and Christian Braun also out of the lineup. How do you think that's going to fare for the Denver Nuggets? And could that be a somewhat of a unfortunate silver lining for the Los Angeles Lakers to maybe stay somewhere in the Western Conference playoffs?
No, the Lakers aren't good enough to probably matter at this point in the top 4. I believe this is going to get worse because Austin's not going to be back for a month. Mm-hmm. LeBron, as the season goes on, is going to get worse, especially if he's relied on too much. We had made it very clear that LeBron can't play more than 30 minutes a game. Otherwise, this is going to go south, and it has. So Austin Reeves isn't playing. Rui Hachimura is off every other game. He's useless pretty much this year so far in my book. Marcus Smart can't shoot. Jake LaRavia can't shoot. Dalton Knecht can't shoot. DeAndre Ayton isn't a shooter. Jackson Hayes isn't a shooter. So what are we watching here for the next month? We're not going to have any. The Lakers aren't going to have any shot at hoping that they have an opening where they can eclipse the Houston Rockets, the Denver Nuggets, in the upper echelon of the seeding. I think what's likely going to happen is the Lakers will probably end up being a 7 or 8 seed at best by the end of the year, and then lose in the first round. I think that's kind of where they're headed.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. Truly, yeah, Vanderbilt is a 3-point sniper. Oh, gee, that's a funny one. That is a funny one. Did you not see? I understand what he's averaging on the season, and it's not terrible right now. It's 38.7. But do you actually think it's going to stay at that level for a guy that's averaging 30% over the course of his career? If you think that it's going to stay the case, you guys are very, very optimistic. This is the same guy who in the last game, Joe, shot one that was 2 feet short and 2 feet to the left, literally. And again, he's, the expectations are very low when it comes to his shooting. And if he gets you that much and keeps it that much, more power to him. But I don't see that happening. I mean, we talked about last year when AD got up to such a great start from 3, and I told Tom, I said he's going to go back down below 30. And before he was traded, that game before he was traded, he fell back under 30% from 3 because guys almost always go back to the mean. But in Laravia's case, this is concerning because for his first 2 years of his career, Joe, he was a below average 3-point shooter. He has that 1 year last season, which was rounded off to about a 40% from 3-point shooting. And that was with Memphis and Sacramento. And that's what I guess Rob Pelinka was banking on, and it looks like right now it's not being the case.
I commend Jake LaRavia for trying to do the little things. He's been a little bit better in those areas, trying to get rebounds and intercepting balls through certain passing lanes. But this team needs both, and they need it consistently. It's just not. And this team is not mentally strong and physically strong. They are weak. They're inept, and they lack any drive to be great. I don't see anything there, whether through leadership or through execution. Luka's doing what he does because he's just that talented. But I don't know. I think he just is going with the flow, likely knowing that this particular year is kind of a dud year, and he may be looking at it as, I'm not going to ruffle any feathers because it doesn't really matter because 90% of this roster is going to be gone in about 4 months. So I'll just bide my time, do my best, try to do what I can do, and then get ready for the next phase of Laker basketball, which will be a complete focus on building a team around him, as it should.
That's true. LFB, look on the bright side. We picked JHS over Keontae George. Absolutely. Just again, another one of the great pickups by Rob Pelinka. Yes, because he was picked with the 16th pick. Keontae George was.
Oh, was Keontae 16? Yeah.
Yeah, 16.
Yeah, they didn't have a chance to pick him, unfortunately.
Yeah. But again, as I said, you guys, we have a Thiero who has played next to nothing. Let's see what the kid can do. Let's see what Dalton can do because he's been playing well in garbage time as the garbage time king. He better start shooting well if he does get an opportunity because we all know what happens when he doesn't. Thiero, let's give the kid some time because, again, Maxime Renaud is averaging a double-double since he went to the starting lineup for the Kings, and he was picked after Thiero in the second round of this year's draft. So, again, issues with the front office and how they evaluate talent is a lot of the reasons, many of the reasons, not all the reasons, but many of the reasons why we're at right now as a team. heading into 2026. But on that note, I wanted to keep it bright and cheery as best I can on the midst of what happened this evening. I do want to wish you and this fantastic crowd that's been with us all throughout this evening, everyone out there watching, if you're watching after the fact, if you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, if you've done so all day long, all year long, all season long, it has been just truly our privilege to go ahead and give you the best in Lakers programming right here. Again, Serge, truly appreciate you and all the other mods for what you've done this year. Cannot thank you enough. I know that Mark is going to get nauseated because I'm thanking everyone, but it is the end of the year. Search says, great show, G and J. Happy New Year. Happiest of New Year's to everyone out there. Joe, I know that you're usually the Grinch and the grumpy bumpy and all that, but I'm sure you can find it in your heart, your cold black heart, somewhere to say Happy New Year to everyone out there. Can you?
Why?
Okay, that's what I thought. All right, I gave him the opening, guys.
To you, it's New Year's. To me, it's Thursday.
All right.
And that's just pleasantries isn't really my MO.
Well, can I wish you a happy Thursday then?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I wish you and the family a truly blessed and happy Thursday then for you. And for everyone else as well. And guess what? All the other 364 days for you as well. Prosperous New Year's to everyone. The Lakers do lose, unfortunately, tonight. Really humiliating loss, 128-106, but we'll be back at it. Hopefully I'll get a sneak in a NBA observations with legend beforehand, but we will be definitely back on Friday as the Lakers host the Memphis Grizzlies. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts out there on the Lakers, seeing if they will go ahead and finally get off this schneid. They've lost 7 of 12. They're still in 5th place in the Western Conference, but can it get better? Can they get off to 2026 on a good note? Because they will have back-to-back home games against Memphis. We'll find out if Memphis will provide some good cooking for the Lakers in 2026, because we'll be back then with the best post game on the Lakers or anywhere else right here from your friends at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.